another episode of I Can Do This All Day. I'm Dan, the part-time adventurer, and Mark, the resident chef.
You may notice both of us have a little bit of blue on, and that could be a coincidence or it could be a theme. Today, we're talking about a DC film. So we're a little blue. And the title of that DC film is Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle. What the hell is that? Have you ever heard of Blue Beetle? And what do you know about the character?
I thought it was a beetle, but it turns out it's a scarab. I don't know. I don't even remember ever hearing of this character.
Never heard of him my entire life.
I mean, I hadn't heard of Groot before.
True.
So there's that, but this seems like some random obscure character. Is this character new?
I wish I could tell you, but I don't know. And you know what? I did zero research, very much like a lot of the DC characters that have come out onto film. Zero research. If it happens to pop up in like a TV show, which I think the Blue Beetle did, or his counterpart did, or something like that, but couldn't tell you, man. But I went into this completely blind. The only thing that I did know is that the kid from Cobra Kai was in it, and it had George Lopez. That's about it. But the character
I
itself,
knew who George Lopez was. I didn't even know how to say Zolo's name until we just literally before you pushed record. So this was not a member of the Super Friends. So apparently somebody at DC had to dig way down. We couldn't get Wonder Twins, couldn't get, Crypto the Super Dog, couldn't get any of the other, nothing. We
did get Crypto Superdog in DC Super League of Pets.
So, I didn't see that.
I saw it.
Well,
it had The Rock and Kevin Hart. So why? Well,
they weren't actually in it. Their voices were in it.
Yeah.
That's like saying Vin Diesel was in Guardians of the Galaxy and he's the reason that they were family.
The one thing that I was not really sure of in regards to Blue Beetle is that I didn't know if this character was ethnically from a Hispanic background. I like that direction that they went with it because they added something new. Had you heard anything about that? Like, was he ethnically
I know nothing. It seems like this character would make sense to be from the area where scarabs are commonly found, the cradle of life in that area, seems like kind of an Egyptian, Middle Eastern kind of thing, but I don't know. I mean, it's not gentrification because he's not white, but I don't know.
I'm fine with them, throwing in a little bit of color and a little bit of diversity for heroes. I had no idea. So I assumed that was the case. The little research that I did do, I don't think that was the case. I think he was just like a white dude in every iteration of the character. But why not? Let's throw a Mexican family in. And I'm pretty sure that the city is made up just like every other city in DC. I don't think they ever go to a real city. They had the Gotham call back to it and whatever Pantera City or wherever the fuck they were at.
Yeah.
Obviously it was fake, but
obviously it was Miami, right?
Yeah.
If Gotham is, Pittsburgh or, it's, I don't know. Gotham has been New York in some spaces, but
Chicago?
We don't know. It's been Chicago, but then we don't know where Metropolis is. And then in BVS, they're across the river from each other. So is one Manhattan and one Long Island. I don't even know what's going on here. That's technically on the same island. Is one of them New Jersey? I don't know. But this 100% very Miami. But I honestly, you could be right that the original version was a white dude named like Cord, and they added this next person into the fold, but I don't know.
Cord was one of them. I did see that, and he was like the second Blue Beetle. There was another white dude before him. So I think everyone was just like white dudes everywhere.
Hey, you know
I
what?
think
I'm all
DC,
about
Marvel,
this.
like
I've had enough white dudes. Like, they're we DC has tried every white actor they could get, and all their movies have been terrible.
so your expectation, were you going in given the track record? Have you been thinking like, oh, here comes a steaming pile of turd?
I went in thinking, well, George Lopez has to at least make it kind of funny, right? And I do a podcast about superhero movies, so I'm obligated to see this film. So I went to see it. Almost didn't see it, but went to see it.
The expectation for me going in was just I like that Zolo. I like Zolo as a character on Cobra Kai. I don't think he's the best actor, but I was like, this is going to be interesting. And there was a whole lot of buzz saying that this is redeeming the DCEU, and this was going to be like a surprise hit for comic book movies. And I was just like, okay, well, maybe they're just bullshitting me, but I'm going to give it a shot. We do a podcast. It's been a little bit of time since we focused on some DC stuff. Really, honestly, what we've been neglecting is Star Wars, but with Ahsoka coming out, we might revisit that or visit that and
I have
revisit
to get
Star
you to
Wars in
watch a few
general.
cartoon episodes before Ahsoka
Can't
to
do it,
really
son.
to really
Can't do the
appreciate it. But
cartoons. you
no.
can you can tell me about them, and then I will. Like, I'm not gonna hunt for you know Clone Wars episode 5, minute 17, and just be like,
No,
here's
just
this
watch the
little
whole
part.
episode, bro. You just watch the whole episode. It's not that long. And you have Disney
Maybe
Plus. You can hunt. It's fine.
I'll give it some thought.
I'll
Maybe,
give you a
but
10 episode list.
no, that's too much. Too much. I'd rather spend my time watching the Jared Subway murder documentary, or not murder documentary, but the evil Jared Subway guy documentary.
There's a
So
documentary about that.
yeah, it's actually kind of gross. It's really
Oh,
gross.
oh.
But yeah, I mean, going into it, I want to have fun at the movies, and not every DC movie can be bad, right? Not every single one of them. It's got to have some that are like mildly entertaining. So
Usually
why
their
not this one?
first swing at a character is pretty good. The first Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, right? Like a couple of the first time somebody took on the Batman mantle, they were good. Not Clooney. Um, but after that is when they go downhill. But we'll get to maybe sequel, but like the first appearances of some of these people were okay, except
Sure.
for Aquaman and the Flash.
Wait, Aquaman's first
Uh
appearance was good.
no, his first movie was good. His first appearance was in BVS, right?
Yeah, which was freaking sweet.
Mm.
I
That was
thought that was
minus
pretty
Tamora
sweet.
Morrison. I liked it better with Tamora Morrison.
Jeez, yeah. Throw in a shitty actor, much better. Much
Bring in the
better.
Fett, bro.
Oh man. So how did you go see this movie? What was the theater like?
Oh
Well,
my
most
god.
importantly,
Oh
what
my
about the
god.
snacks?
First, I want to bitch about AMC for a minute.
Oh,
So I I had something to do on Friday. So I booked the 17th, right? And I booked like a week and a half in advance because I found out that Friday and the whole weekend I was not going to be able to see this movie. And we're recording the Monday after it came out. So I booked an IMAX at 9 p.m. I was looking on their website because there was a chance I could see it a little earlier that day. And because I had to get up early on Friday. So I'm like, oh, maybe a little earlier. And I pulled up the show times and they canceled the 9 o'clock without telling anybody about it. And I went to the theater and I was like, did you guys cancel the 9 o'clock? Yeah. Yeah. Were you going to notify people who bought tickets? Oh, the manager would do something for you. When I get there at 9 o'clock and can't see the movie, what is he going to do? Give me a DVD?
wait. So hold on, Karen. So you had a ticket for 9 o'clock, and they canceled it, but you were there earlier to
No,
catch
no.
a movie,
I caught it
anyways.
on the app because I went to look and see if I could. I thought about seeing the 7:30 because
Mhm.
something changed with my schedule on Thursday.
Right. But so you had a ticket to the 9 o'clock?
I had a ticket to the 9 o'clock up until like 6:30 p.m. and they took it
Okay.
off the board on like the day before. I noticed, and I was like, maybe I'll be able to go to 7:30. Maybe they just are sold. I said, maybe they sold out the first day of a DC movie in IMAX. Maybe. But either way, I was like, damn it.
Huh.
If I
So
wouldn't have
what?
caught this, we wouldn't have podcasted, and all these people listening to it, all five, would be very disappointed.
So AMC, shame on you. Cinemark, hey, thank you. Such
Yeah.
a great experience with Cinemark. I will always be a patron at Cinemark. You know what? The snacks, fantastic. Popcorn, mwah, exquisite. The overall addition now, or well, not addition, but the bringing back of the movie theater butter on the outside where I can extra load my popcorn up with that butter. Thanks. I enjoyed it. So did my son. And we even had like one of those little Pizza Hut pizzas. So it was myself and my oldest. No one else wanted to see the movie. No one else was excited about it, but I was able to talk my oldest into going with me. But yeah, good time. So Cinemark, potential sponsor Cinemark. This is my second stab. I'm publicly calling you out here on this episode, but praising you at the same time. Hey, I would love to have you a sponsor or have you as an official sponsor as this podcast. And it looks like my co-host here has been done some wrong. So maybe you can make
I
it
could
a
be
little bit better.
convinced to go to a Cinemark. I can
Hey.
be convinced. Let me ask you a question about your popcorn situation, though, right? You got the
Yeah.
outside butter. What kind of salt do they have there? Do they just have
Uh
like table salt, or do they have like the orange flavacol situation?
yeah, of course it's the unhealthiest,
Oh, son of
ungodly,
a bitch!
unknown
AMC misses again.
unknown mineral known to man. Like you can only
No,
find it on Krypton. Yeah, so they have that the nice
Cinemark,
ridiculous salt.
Cinemark. You're what you're. I'm feeling love. AMC is really close to my house, but I drive that extra minute for a sponsorship.
And I will say the privately labeled candy at Cinemark, very affordable. And thank you for that for our family budget. You know,
Oh,
it's a family affair every time we go to the movies. So hey, there's another one. Just put another feather in the
yeah.
cap of
No,
Cinemark.
man. AMC spending all that money to get Nicole Kidman to talk to people before movies.
Oh man. So like this is like an internet phenomenon too, Nicole Kidman, the AMC thing. Like everyone either talks about it or makes some type of joke about it. But yeah, I don't go to AMC. Proud patron of Cinemark. Please sponsor us. Waiting. But yeah, so theater capacity. So I assume that your theater is pretty
Oh
empty.
man, it was me and like three people.
Really,
I
really.
don't know
And that's
how
on
this
the
AMC stays open.
but that's on the Thursday night preview, right?
Thursday night, 7:30, the week before school starts. Nobody's in school.
I don't blame I don't blame that on
Opening night,
just because of the
though.
day. It's not opening
7:30
night
opening
though.
night.
Thursday's the preview night, right? Technically opening night is Friday.
Yo, if it was Endgame, it was full the Thursday.
Sure. Yeah, that's like apples
If it
to
was
micro
any Star
penises.
Wars movie, it's full.
I don't know about that anymore.
Dude,
I'm not
Solo
sure.
2. Star Wars fans come out.
Ugh.
DC fans, they wait for Warner Brothers to put it
They
onto Max.
DC fans wait and actually some of them are like who's Blue Beetle?
DC fans read old Batman comics. That's what happens.
Yeah. They're still waiting for I need a Tim Drake Robin. But okay, so my theater was pretty packed. Not sold out, but I would probably say maybe 80% to capacity. We went on the Friday night and it was pretty sweet. The cool thing I liked about this, and it plays a very important part later on in the movie, or throughout the movie, I should say, is that it was a very ethnic crowd. So very few Caucasian people in the theater. So I think maybe my son, who is half, was probably like in the minority in that sense, but hey,
The
in the
white
majority at the
kid
same
there.
time. So yeah, but so let's talk about that. So we talked about this the setup to the movie. Let's actually dive into it. When it comes down to the overall dynamic, you've got a Hispanic family, which I believe I'm not mistaken, like a Mexican American family, correct?
It would appear so. Yeah.
Either way, you've got a Hispanic family in this movie at the forefront. I see a problem with the box office right now because it's not performing, it's underperforming. And I think a part of it is because you don't have white leads. And so
I
I
mean,
don't know if that's necessarily the case.
you have one white
But
lead,
well, Susan Sarandon, right?
the
Which
Susan Sarandon.
which by the way, that wig, I'm not a hair and makeup person, but I could tell that that wig was just completely awful and very transparent throughout the entire movie.
Hmm. Dude, how old is Susan Sarandon these days? Leave her
I think
alone.
she's like I think she's like 70.
Hmm.
So no, I mean she's great. I like her.
I
But
love me some Susan Sarandon. Bull
yeah,
Durham, Thelma and Louise, all
far
movies in the 80s.
far past her prime for being a legitimate lead though. Let's be honest.
I mean, if Jeff Bridges could play her character, she can play her character, right?
That's who she was playing, right? I mean,
So it's
that,
100% Obadiah Stane, right?
good God.
This was such an Iron Man ripoff in the beginning.
Oh, oh, it's not just Iron
Oh
Man.
no, there's so many pieces. It's
Oh
like
yeah, absolutely.
it's like
Um,
this movie may be the glue stick magazine collage of superhero movies with video games and other 80s things thrown in there.
do you see a problem with that though? Are you like watching this as the movie's going throughout and you're seeing all these like either whether you want to say it's an homage or just a ripoff or like similar ideas? Do you are you not liking the fact that there's a lot of things that are similar to other movies?
So I like it. I like to see it, but I like it in a certain context, right? Like Ready Player One, amazing. Great way
Yeah.
to pull all of these nostalgic themes together. They labeled them as such. They didn't say, this was my idea. They just said, look, we got a thing. You love it. You love it. You know, like, not, hey, we're going to use scenes from Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, perhaps Iron Man 3. We're also going to grab some Captain Marvel and Shang Chi in there. We're going to do a bus scene. We're going to do multiple things. We're going to do the thing Ant-Man wouldn't do with a different kind of bug. We're going to do so many pieces. So
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but like when certain songs are played, I'm like, well, that's the song from Ricky Bobby. Like you're just not making it your own in that way.
It's tough because like a lot of those companies own the rights or, have like permanently licensed songs. Like if you is great, and I'll just use a Marvel example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, when they're playing Marvin Gaye, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, fantastic song, right? And perfect for that scene. But if you rewind just a few years prior to, they did that in Remember the Titans, and that was like a perfect song for those parts in the movies. So it's just like I understand the whole licensing thing, and they had a lot of repeat music, and then like for Remember the Titans and Guardians of the Galaxy, both Disney properties, but also very far apart in terms of time wise. You have movies like within the same year playing the same song. Guardians of the Galaxy, Super Mario Brothers both had No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Yeah. When it doesn't contextually fit with the rest of the movie, though, like we can talk about the movie and the music. I know it's a little later. It was supposed to be a later topic, but they stuck with some Hispanic bands, right? Motley Crue's not a Hispanic band. You got Bitty Bitty Boom Boom earlier. You got
Yeah.
fucking Cypress Hill in the back end of it, which was a banger in that scene. You nailed it. But Kickstart My Heart.
Yeah, that one bothered me a little bit. If there was any type of inkling that the father listened to that music, then I would be like, oh, cool. That's the reason why he hit play in the little walking Batman's ripoff. What was Batman's thing called in Justice League?
The I know what you're talking about. I thought it was a Wild Wild West ripoff.
No one wants to rip off Wild Wild West. No
I'm
one
just
does.
saying, a big mechanical bug, only other movie to do it, and they ripped off everybody else. So
They did. There's a lot of copying
yeah,
or,
but the
imitation, if
music
you
in
will.
this was very electronic, was very, had the Hispanic. Again, the Cypress Hill scene was so tight with that music. Like that music was chef's kiss. Again, like they put so many things, and they're like, everybody likes Kickstart My Heart. Let's put that in there. Yeah. No.
That was a perfect example of like, uh-oh, Dan's not gonna like this because this is a song. This
That's why I
song
read it. I typed it on my phone. Like, we got to specifically Kickstart My Heart. What is
doesn't
going on?
it doesn't fit. Like I here's the
No.
thing. If there's like a badass song that has like a driving beat that's like, oh cool, this is motivating me to be in the scene, sure. But the only reason that this would motivate me is if I like Kickstart My Heart, which I don't. So
Mm.
I'm like, okay, well, like, why did you throw this music in? Where's the significance? Did Dad like, 80s rock? No,
I
no
don't know.
mention of
They
it.
should have asked
This doesn't make
Dad
any sense.
during the Black Panther scene that they did. That's when they should have asked Dad
No, no, no.
when they
But
had
that
their
wasn't the
Black
dad
Panther
though.
moment.
It was that. But I like that scene. I like that scene. I actually didn't mind it. But the
It was
dad,
touching,
the one
but
that's missing is the dad. It's his equipment, and so it's like
oh, sorry. Sorry.
there
The
was no
other
reason for
dad,
it.
the core dad, not
Yes, yeah.
Jamie's dad.
Jaime,
Jaime, sorry.
how
Jamie?
dare you, you
Jamie?
white
You said
devil?
Jamie? Um, again, they panned it. Like, what the hell? But no, yeah. I don't know if that was the Black Panther scene or the scene from the last Harry Potter movie in the train station. Not sure which one, but it was that. It was definitely that.
I mean, there's so many. Like everything has been done. Everything has been done. So I don't blame someone for having that type of formula for a movie. Now, can you distance yourself from it by kind of like not doing as many of them? Sure. Which I don't think they did a
This
very good.
dude, you're more than fingers and toes, where they're like, okay, I don't understand it, but it's cool. That doesn't really fit, but I kind of like it, but it doesn't fit.
Perfect example is like we just uh reviewed a few comedy movies. Like let's just say Top Secret. If you haven't checked out our Top Secret review, very fun episode, nonstop jokes, a lot of humor, so much that you can't even keep up with it, right? This is one of those things where it's like they're going from bit to bit to bit, and it's not really like carrying forward the story. It's just we need to get to the next bit or homage or copycat formula,
Yeah,
right? I think that's
yeah,
where it's coming for me. Now, not to say I'm showing my hand right now. I'm just seeing an observation as to like, okay, well, this is what I'm kind of getting from this. I'm not getting upset during while I'm watching the movie. I'm just thinking to myself like there's a lot of familiar stuff and there's a lot of stuff that's kind of just smashed in there just to do the bit. I want to talk about the family and spend a good amount of time on that because you have these every person in the family has some type of archetype or personality trait, right? None of them are similar at all. It's fair to
yeah.
say. Like
No,
no one
there's
has the
a lot
same
of
like
uniqueness.
yeah, that's like he's just like dad or he's just like mom. Like no, none of that. It's like all right, when seven strangers are picked to live in a house in the real world, like that's what it was like. The one thing I did like though, the Hispanic family dynamic was very, very awesome. And you could kind of, in my theater, you could pick up that a lot of people appreciated that because they would laugh after the little subtle jokes, or the line that's being dropped, of where, like, it's I'd like to have that type of ambiance and environment of where, like, oh, people are having fun, people are laughing, which it's been a little bit of time since I was in a theater and people were laughing. I think the last time where it was like really, really hard is when I led the charge of laughter in Cocaine Bear with my family. So like I managed to get the not the entire theater, but a good amount of the theater laughing at the most inappropriate parts, because this movie was just bonkers. So this is something that I enjoyed about it. But what about your three other people in the movie theater? Any
Yeah.
laughter, any type of participation?
No, no, nothing, man. And I'm sitting in the
were
front of the
they
theater, right?
were they
So
all
anything anybody said would flow downhill. But yeah, it was pretty flat. But I
not to make it a
agree.
racial thing, but were they all of like Caucasian descent?
I didn't
You don't see color. You just
yeah, I
see.
didn't really stop and do a census. I walked in, I sat in my seat, I waited till the second after credit scene and I left. There was
Oh wait,
definitely
there's a second
there's
one.
two. There's two. Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
whoops, missed
I
that one.
Googled that before I leave. But even on preview night, it was out there. But I enjoyed the family dynamic as well. Like that part of the movie, the family interaction in the movie felt real to the film, felt like the heart of the movie, and wasn't like ripped off from somewhere, right? Because their families like that support each other, without any support each other regardless, that always show up when you don't want them to show up, that are positive and backing, and just almost to the level of, oh my god, just stop, right? Which we saw in like the drop off scene, like first day of work, yay. Did you get dropped off by your family at your first job? Were they really excited?
No, you have to. Okay, so here's my backstory. Cue the sad music. But I didn't really have that type of support in terms of family stuff. There was never anything like it's your first day of school or it's your first job, or anything like that. So throw that right out the window. However, I am familiar and I do know that other families support their children. So I
Good.
am able to pick up on that, like, oh, that's nice. And like I know I've seen people, a lot of it in movies, not so much in real life, but you see some of the family where it's like, I love you, hon. I love you. Like, and it's just like, ugh. I would look
Yeah.
back. I'm just like, that's weird. Like, what the
Way,
hell?
way to absolutely burn the opportunity to say, but I do that with my kids.
So I
Way to just
do.
burn it. Just burn it.
I'm saying I just never experienced that when I was younger. So I am, and my wife and I are in full agreement that we are going to embarrass the kids when they're old enough. Like, I might be that person at the school pickup line where I play like a funny song and I'm like sitting there dancing out in front of the car, saying like, "Hey, buddy, we're gonna have a great weekend." It's gonna be that type of relationship. But yeah,
Dude, you
it's all
can
good.
kickstart my heart the hell out of that move. That's an appropriate place to play Kickstart My Heart.
So that just reminded me of something that I did during COVID when my son was doing everything was just like virtual school. He was so just in tune with his computer, but I would come out of my office during work and I'd try to make him laugh. And then I realized, like, uh-oh, he doesn't want to laugh. He gets embarrassed. So I would make it a point to like come out of my office, get something out of the fridge, close the fridge door, and start doing like some body rolls and dancing. And then he would just put his face down away from the computer and everything, and just get him to kind of crack the entire time. But I miss that type of stuff. But I wish I could just show up in his class randomly and do that. But no, doesn't happen.
Is that because you don't try hard enough or because the school frowns upon
I'm not allowed 50 feet from a
it?
school, so
That's, I
that's
forgot about that. Ooh, talk about backstory.
the school was closed. All right, no one was there.
When you gotta pee, you gotta pee.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, so that family dynamic is cool. But so you're okay with it, right? You didn't feel like it was too gimmicky, where it's like, oh, here's the uncle from prison, here's the dad that's really nice, has a heart of gold. There's the grandma that's just filled with piss and vinegar, and then there's the daughter that's just like a sourpuss, but yet a freeloader, but yet supportive of the family. And it's um, I didn't get what the mom was. Did you
the
understand like
mom,
what her
the mom was the supportive, regardless, hold the family together. We're family. We're doing whatever. She was just that one.
really?
I thought
I
so.
thought that was the grandma.
Well, so from the beginning, I'm like, the grandma is gonna do something that I'm gonna really enjoy in this movie, and I don't know what. And she had a couple like subtle fourth wall looks in the beginning, like and she had a few lines, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
grandma's gonna spout off, and I'm gonna love every minute of it. And fucking AF, I didn't. But I didn't mind the dynamic, right? I enjoyed it. I think that again, that was the heart of the movie. Without the family, this movie would have been terrible.
Right.
Like if it was just, Jaime Reyes, Peter Parker, um, loner, post everybody, right? Like I'm just by myself. He just would have been a weird stalker, and nobody would have cared that he, died. The family gave the movie heart and was, in my opinion, the best part of it. And they used the family to drive the plot, if you want to call it that, right? The story, at least, to drive the
Mhm.
story. All of the dressing for the story was archetypal and used and repurposed and reformed. But the family, in my opinion, was that movie. Um, Even the scene where he gets his powers, I love that it was around the family, because if it wasn't, it was 100% Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Ooh, a bug did a thing to me, except this time. Woohoo! Coolo!
Do you think it really did go up his ass?
I don't know how else he got in his system.
It is weird because they're like, it's inside you. Like, how to get inside him? And then
The thing that
Lopez just
the,
says it just
the,
went up his ass. Uh,
this could have, I don't know the I'm assuming that this origin is true to the comic origin, but why the fuck is it an Egyptian scarab?
I had a problem with calling it a scarab because we just watched a Marvel TV show with a scarab. And man,
Right?
she was
And
badass. She was
you just
badass.
did Black Adam, which is like right in the cradle of life. Like you had that Marvel movie. Like just go back. I mean, it was terrible. Like I liked it because it's a bad rock movie, and I just really enjoy bad Dwayne Johnson movies.
We
Like
both
Rampage.
said that we could do that
Oh,
all day, just so you
oh,
know.
what?
We both said that we could do that all day.
Oh, and I can. I've got my hat. I rock the hat for it all the time. And I'm just like, people have no idea what this is, but I don't care because I loved it. I did love Black Adam. Shout out to The Rock and Rampage. Shout out to The Rock. Just huge blockbusters that The Rock can tell you made a lot of money for him. But either way, like I just don't know why the scarab and the it just didn't fit with the ethnicity profile of the family, right? Like it wasn't Mayan. Like the way that they introduced Namor in Black Panther aligned amazing. Like
Yeah.
just from okay, it fits. There's no holes in this story, at least from like how they brought Namor around. This, eh, like it chose you. Why? We don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing that went into that, right? They don't mention as to
Like
why they
there's not like there's so many ways they could have done it. Oh, your ancestor, but because no, not your ancestor, because it's a scarab and scarabs are from here and you folks are from this area, generally here. Like it doesn't make sense. Like tie it to something, but because it chose somebody completely different before, it does. It just again, like it does not make sense. Chewbacca is a Wookiee. He does not live on Endor.
So you had mentioned earlier that Susan Sarandon, right? So you got her as the villain. Is she a villain in this?
I think
Is she
so.
really?
I
I
think
don't
she's
know, man.
driving the negative. She dies at the end from a consequence of her villainy. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
She's a capitalist, right? Are all capitalists
She's
evil?
not a capitalist. She's a fucking anarchist.
Anarchist, really?
Yeah.
Trying to have like a government of or not government, an army of like robot scarab people, whatever the hell it
No,
is.
everybody that seems to want to have an army of robots or people or robot people are always just upstanding, morally great citizens. They're also, her company was demolishing the hovel that the main character lived in. So, they were
Sure.
just also gentrifying, which is
Yeah.
always a hero's journey, right?
Yeah. I don't know if
Gentrification man.
I wouldn't say she's a flat out villain. Of course she does some villain shit to the one guy and like essentially tortures him. But I think that's where like it's like, okay, yeah, that's I always try to find like they're really not that bad of a guy. Like I
She
always do that with
also
villains.
she also led all of the experiments to get to him. He wasn't like 1.0 on robot parts, man. He was the one that survived it. All the other ones died. So
I thought he got blown up and that's why he was picked.
no, no,
Yeah.
he volunteered.
No, it's because she gave him like a second chance because he like got blown up in the on like a mission, a military mission. And so
Well,
he's like
I'm
useless.
sure that she had the opportunity with many soldiers and she killed them, but she's basically the villain from Guardians 3,
Okay.
giving people robot arms and robot eyes and all that shit.
What about the action in this movie? Your thoughts?
I want to hear your thoughts because you're such a special effects snob. Because for me, I was surprised at how good it was. All of the scenes that they copied from the first Iron Man were great. All of the fight scenes that they copied from the second Iron Man were great. Even the look of the helmet on the main villain was copied from the fucking Iron Man 2 and the whip thing. But I thought they redid all of those fight scenes very well. And I thought that the third act was great.
So I thought that the suit. Let's talk about the suit first. Did you like the suit?
The suit was great, except he was naked after wearing it every single time.
I thought that would have been a plus for you.
I mean, they didn't show it, man.
They should have showed it. Blue Beetle, blue balls. Let's do this. Yeah, I mean, I like the suit a lot, and I actually would go on record and say that suit looks way better than Ironheart's suit in Wakanda Forever.
Don't even talk to me about Ironheart. Talk about like the most useless. Just no. Talk about stretching it. Ironheart, thumbs down.
Oh, you're the one who liked Ironheart. If you go back to that
Well, I have
episode,
changed my opinion.
okay, all
Upon
right, because
rewatching,
it looked like
Ironheart,
shit.
I'm gonna tell you, Ironheart is the Indiana Jones of of fucking Black Panther 2. Has
Oh
no
man,
impact whatsoever on the plot. If she doesn't show up, everything's fine. Same outcome. Same outcome.
I wanna splice this episode with
Dude,
the
do it.
Wakanda
Do
Forever
it.
episode.
Because I thought it was a cool concept and I had this like, oh yeah, no, well maybe we'll get some Tony Stark in there, maybe we won't, maybe, and Marvel has followed up on none of it. They have done jack shit with it. And the way they're setting up this next round of whatever, how do you integrate her into anything? She didn't even get a goddamn Disney Plus show. Like,
I think yeah, that's gone, right? That's like not on the
I
records
think
anymore.
so. I don't know where it's at, but everything got pushed. Like, you again, of no fault of the actress, she was great. I thought her attitude and the way she portrayed the character was great. I thought the character could be so cool. But it's a like there have been how many Marvel movies since, and we've done nothing. No mention, no cameos, no nothing. And this
I
is
don't
an
need
absolutely 100% portable character. Like
I
portable.
I was just talking about the CGI of the suit. Like it's so bad in comparison. I thought the CGI was pretty good in this movie. Like I didn't have an
Oh,
issue with it. There's a few things like I could nitpick, like some of the fire looked fake and shit, but I'm fine with that.
hey,
No problem.
all of the fire was fake.
Some of those things are just, it's fine and passable. So no problem at all. I like the suit. I felt, I liked Karen from Spider-Man Homecoming as the narrator for the suit too. That was kind of cool. I don't know who the actual actress was who did that, but very similar to Peter Parker's suit narrator. Um, yeah, I felt good with the action. I liked the fights. Some of it was like a little too quick cut for me, but taking the martial arts enthusiast out of it, I'm okay with it. Action's good. I liked it. It was entertaining. I had no problems with the suit. I thought it was solid.
Just so you know, the voice of the suit was Becky G, who is a musical artist.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, no, I again agree 100%. I thought the CGI was so cool that during that last fight, during the Cypress Hill fight, where he busts out the Final Fantasy VII sword and they do the Final Fantasy VII moves. Fuck yes. First of all, pause. Did you know that there was a sword from Final Fantasy VII?
So I thought in my head, like, wow, that looks like Cloud's sword, but I didn't put the two together. Like I thought I didn't know because since I don't know shit about Blue Beetle, I thought maybe like, oh, is that like his sword or something? Does he use a sword?
It
And
looked
is
like
that
it.
like
I'm going to say I don't 100% know that it's the sword from Final Fantasy VII, but if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and does the same flourishy duck moves, I mean, quack quack, brother.
it looked awesome. I like that. It was very, very cool. And if it is a Final Fantasy VII callback, then I like it even more. I just didn't I don't know the character enough to be like, oh yeah, and
Yeah,
those are some of those references that I'm not sure that I pick up on. Like some of the other familial references where like the family humor and you got the little archetypes of everything. There were some things that I heard a bunch of people laughing, and I was like, okay, I'm missing something culturally here, but cool. If it's playing to that audience and they're getting it, that's awesome. I don't need to get it. I'm getting a bunch of my other stuff, and humor and plot points of everything. There was even some like nice emotional stuff with the dad. So that I will say that is the closest that a DC movie has ever made me feel anything. So I give them props for that.
okay. The Final Fantasy sword. You jogged my memory talking about it. Somebody in my theater yelled something out during that when he busted that sword out. And that was the most excited I've been during a well, I mean, Keaton is Batman, but other than Keaton is Batman, was the most excited I've been during a DC movie fight scene in I can't tell you how long. So I again, the special effects and the fighting was great. The video game references in this were top notch. Having the fucking power glove in this movie, that might have been my favorite part. The fucking power glove. Yes.
That was like very interesting because I why are those references there, right? Like there's a lot of it has an 80s motif. You got some of the 80s rock in there. You have like
Mhm.
the 80s neon colors and the very 80s font for the
And the
title.
very coolest 80s controller that was terrible. Like,
It's but why are those references there? Is it just an 80s motif? Like the director's really into the 80s?
you know, I've got to think that it's because the character, like the dad, it was the dad's stuff, and the dad was alive in the 80s. So like that's my
He just
maybe
really likes Nintendo Power Gloves. Like, so he liked it so much that he made a weapon out of it.
word. Or it was convenient because it was a glove and it had some buttons.
Yeah.
Buttons.
Okay. I guess that I needed it to be a little bit more of an explanation for that stuff. And maybe I'm just like nitpicking, but I'm okay with like, Captain Marvel had like a bunch of 90s music because it was a movie in the 90s, right? So that made sense to me. This isn't a movie in the 80s, but if you're going to call back a bunch of stuff that is 80s, there has to be a tie back as to why,
No,
right?
but you
Whether
just
it
you
was,
just gave the explanation. You just gave the explanation, and I got to call you out for doing a great job at giving the explanation. Why did we do this in this movie? Because Captain Marvel did it. It's
yeah,
done.
but no, but there's no, but it was in the 90s. This was not in the 80s. So
Doesn't matter.
where
Well, if Captain Marvel could call back to the 90s, we could call back to the 80s. Let's go.
it's not a callback when it takes place in the 90s.
Uh,
That's the difference,
it
right? So
none of
this
it
is
made
where I
none of the things they stole made sense as to why they stole them. They just did it.
that's the
And
thing though. Like my critique of it is like, yeah, I like the 80s, not some of the choices that you had in there, but I like the 80s. There just needs to be a reason, right? Whether you're just like, oh yeah, 80s was the like just some fucking throwaway line. 80s was the best generation ever. Like all and then like someone rattles down Nintendo came out, blah blah blah, just something, right? That's all I need. That's all I need. A throwaway line, then I'm good. But there's just a lot of 80s, like it doesn't make sense for everything. And I understand why you would steal a bunch of scenes because you want to have like a nice formula. And I'm not saying the director did that, right? Or I'm not even saying that maybe the writer intended it just to have like that type of flair. Maybe they just wanted to have a fun movie. Well, you know what? You take a bunch of fun things from different eras and different movies, and then you come up with fun. Well, we'll have to wait till the very end to see if this was a perfect combination of fun.
I think looking more into the director and the writer, neither one of them have a lot of movie credits, especially movies this big. And I think that all of the inconsistencies we see with the different elements and the stuff that feels like added on after the fact, or not after the fact, but just, cool to do, so let's do it, could be a result of that. Could be a result of a new director wanting to pay homage, but not paying homage in a way that is it just doesn't fit together well. So I could see that. And there's no like major movie star in this movie to carry it forward like Tom Cruise carries forward the Mission Impossible movies and like dictates like, no, this is what fits into my franchise. Vin Diesel and that Fast and the Furious crew, they do that with that franchise, and with so there's a very consistent feel to that.
Yeah.
Family. In this, family was consistent, but there weren't elements. They're trying to establish elements, but they're from everywhere because nobody's ever done a Blue Beetle movie. There's not like a thing. There's not pearls falling in an alley that you just have to do if you do a Blue Beetle movie. There's just not these elements. So they just tried a bunch of shit and it made the cut.
Like, what were your thoughts about the whole crawling beetle thing?
Why does this work after it's been sitting for so long, after 3 George Lopez kicks? Why does the
Yeah,
fuel work? What fuel does it use? How is this even possible?
yeah, I thought the same thing. Thought the same thing. Not sure, but you know who the reason why is because the daughter Jenny Cord wanted to be like, hey, by the way, I found all my dad's toys. Do you want to check them out? Maybe we
And I
could do it on
plugged them
this.
in. Why did the power glove even work? It had an independent power cell
Yeah.
that apparently is still good. What kind of fucking weird ass nickel cadmium shit was that?
What about the little beetle, the stink beetle fart?
I thought that was really funny. Again, they had funny moments in the movie. And I mean, yeah, I thought it was funny. That
I
made me laugh out loud.
I didn't like it at all. So that's stealth mode. That's your stealth mode right there.
Are you
and you just know to
uncomfortable with
flip up this.
flatulence? Maybe I just like fart jokes.
I love them. I love fart jokes in movies, but that's not a fart joke. That's not even like, that's the opposite of stealth. 100% opposite
I
of
mean,
stealth. They
but
could
in
have
a
called it
clear
something
room,
else.
you've obviously never cleared a room, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
So
you've obviously
that's
never
just
dropped some chemical situations.
not a not my type of fart humor. I like
Mm.
my fart humor a little bit more gross and not strategic in a in a mechanical
Oh man,
beetle.
no. And how did that still work? What kind of juice didn't evaporate
Yeah.
or like lose its potency after 30 years? I like that they referred to him as Batman with ADHD because that's the feel of all of the technology that he has. Ooh, this would be cool. Ooh, I'm gonna use my power glove. Like it I'm not gonna paint it either. You'd think like, they showed the scene in Batman where he's painting everything to make it black. He didn't paint anything blue. That's for sure. You didn't like the Robo Beetle, but you liked the fight scene.
Yeah, I the fight scene was fine. I thought that was cool, and the beetle when it was flying, fine, okay, cool. Is it far fetched? Sure, but what other vehicle, like even like the Quinjet, how everything is far fetched when it comes to any type of vehicle in a super movie,
But the
any vehicle.
Quinjet isn't crashing and being okay.
But it has 100% stealth mode to where it is legitimately invisible,
Right, but
and
like
it
George Lopez crashed the fucker into the castle, turned that bitch around, and then left in it. Like,
yeah.
no, no, nothing in the 80s was that good.
Yeah, well, but everything was built better back then, so I don't know.
No, no, no. That was the 70s.
Yeah, I took my reality glasses off and I'm just like, let's just have a good time. I think at that point, we're at the third act towards the end of the movie. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that was believable, but a lot of stuff that was not believable. But I want to talk about Jenny Cord really quick. Did you notice that? And maybe I misheard it, but did you notice that they said that she was Brazilian and yet she was speaking Spanish?
Nothing about Jenny Cord being any kind of Hispanic makes sense when well, I guess it could be her mom, but like you've got a white ginger lady as her aunt, and she is very, very Brazilian. It
I mean,
doesn't.
she could, yeah, but and here's like a little lesson for all those people that don't know. People in Brazil don't necessarily speak Spanish; they speak Portuguese,
Oh,
and she was speaking Spanish, and I was just like,
but those people also speak Spanish. Only people in the U.S. only speak one language and think that that's cool. Like, there's a lot of bilingual folks all along, like
sure.
trilingual, quadlingual, and if you're like leading a multinational company and going to the best of schools, you're going to take a Spanish class here and there. Like,
I
that's not hard for
suppose
me to believe. The hard for me to believe is that her and Susan Sarandon share
our
any
relatives.
chromosomes whatsoever.
Fair enough. Okay, but how? Like, I think she is just way too gorgeous for Zolo as a love interest. I think it doesn't make sense to me. Like, just like you had your things where it's like, yeah, these scenes just don't make sense. Like that love interest, very little chemistry, and he's like kind of like a goofball and everything, but like she certainly played it off as if like, yes, I fell in love with this guy, but not believable whatsoever. I don't
He's
know.
heroic though, and he loves his family.
Yeah,
All the boys at
which
the country club are dicks.
that was a touching scene, like at the end of the movie or at the end of everything. Like they all give each other this big hug, and then she's sitting there crying, and the grandma is like, "Come on, bring it in, bitch. Let's go. Let's hug it out."
The grandma. The grandma in this movie is the best character. Viva la
I like
revolution!
the I like the grandma. it was certainly cheesy, and I'm just
It
like, that
was
is kind of cool
amazing.
that
Like grandma's got layers. I'd read a comic book just about grandma to hear about the origins of her revolution story with the Gatling gun. That they stole that scene from Terminator 2. You look good with it.
that little part, like, so after his dad dies and everyone's just like in shambles, and she just brings everyone together, like, there will be a time to cry, but now's not a time. And so, like, she just kind of pulls everyone together, which is just kind of cool, because then you would assume that, like, oh, Uncle Rudy is going to be the one to be like the glue for the family, or even like Jaime acts as the glue. But like, no, it's the grandma, which is cool, which is very, very prevalent in a lot of Hispanic families. It's always the matriarch that is
Mm-hmm.
the one and done. It's like, it goes by her, she's the one in charge. Totally get it. And I
I
like
know.
that
I saw
because it's
Coco.
yeah. It's not very common that a movie has that type of matriarchal figure.
No, I agree. I agree. I thought that again, the family dynamic was the heart of the movie and the only reason it worked. If they would have fucked that up, this movie would have been terrible.
Agreed.
And
The
giving
sister,
everybody in
though,
the sister, you have to have the pessimist, right? Every movie
I
has the wide-eyed optimist and the pessimist. And the sister was the pessimist, but she turned out to be an optimist in the end because she was, worried about people, and she was the reason. I think the sister's the reason that I liked Jenny in the end, right? Because the sister learned to trust Jenny. The sister was our way of connecting with the terrible chemistry that you talked about and the lack of reasons why this chick who gave somebody a stolen thing in a burger box ends up just super digging this guy. Like they gave her a little bit of, like compassion, but also like just she was part of the heart, and I will not discount it. I thought she was good.
the thing for me is like that the pessimist is usually pretty funny, where it's, if they're off-putting, they have like some funny scenes and some dialogue. It's her funniness was just her being an asshole mostly. And so I was just like,
I
I
don't
don't know.
mind that.
So like, Aquafina did it better in Shang Chi, where she's kind of like the brazen one, but she's funny at least. That's
Again, you found the element that they stole from another movie, which good on you, man.
before we go into the important question, I want to play a fun little game. All right. So I want to go down the list of all the things that you felt were like rip-offs. And like, we can do this together, but like, just
Okay.
stolen scenes or stolen elements,
Well, we could
or at least
start.
similarities. I shouldn't say stolen, but similarities in other movies.
Let's start right from the beginning, right from the poster. Let's start with the font that Blue Beetle is written in. It's either Miami Vice or Purple Rain. I'm not sure,
Yep. Yep.
but it's one of
Agreed.
those two.
The next thing for me that was super obvious is like the Imperial Death March music for the score. That was
Was it?
totally Star
It was
Wars.
just right in the. I even listened to it on the ride home, and they like started out completely different and ubiquitous, but you get like 45 seconds in, and you get it's like they vanilla iced it. They added one more beat to it, but it's still bomb, 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 bomb. And just like, yo,
Yeah.
we talked about all of the Iron Man elements, and there are many, mostly from Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. A lot of Iron Man 2.
Shang-Chi was very prevalent, and I noticed a lot of it for me. And my viewing is, you've got, what's it called? The bus scene, where it's sliced in half, did it exactly in Shang-Chi.
100% the same.
Yeah, 100% the same. You've got also the bad guy that ends up becoming like kind of like an ally at the end with I can't even remember the guy's name. Omicron, Oman, or whatever the fuck he was, whatever.
It was
My other
OMAC.
example,
OMAC.
Omac, sure, Omicron, Omac, same
Um,
thing.
but I'm gonna go with what you called out, all the Captain Marvelness, right?
Yeah,
The hey, look, it's product placement and nostalgic things. Look, nostalgia. Yay. Power Glove.
Black Adam, the good side of the town where it's like run by a corporation sucking the resources out from the poor side of town and everything. Totally out of Black Adam. And of all movies to steal shit from, I don't know if Black Adam's the right choice to steal shit from. So, yeah, you did it.
I had to go with Spider-Man with a bug did it. That's how I got my powers. It was a bug.
The Black Panther thing that you mentioned before in terms of the goodbye to the dad, but I'm gonna spin that off into my own observation of it. But you have Deadpool 2, where it's not your and Deadpool 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, it's not your time yet. You're gonna die, but not today. Go back to life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
So many good movies in this movie.
yeah. Uh the Talladega Nights when they're like, let's go, we're gonna listen, we're gonna go, and then bam, kickstart my heart.
Justice League, they had the bat whatever the thing that Alfred had for Batman, and then the Beetle. How many so many movies in this movie?
Yeah, no. Die Hard, the one with Kevin Smith and I think that's Live Free and Die Hard, where George Lopez sits down at the computer and immediately hacks the smartest person that designed all the software. Just immediately gets through and's like, oh, this is what's going on. Look.
Oh shit, you took mine where I was going to use Independence Day, Jeff Goldblum and
Oh, the
Windows.
uploaded the random, but no, that was
Yeah,
an alien technology.
yeah. Well, still,
I know how
still
to make a computer virus for aliens.
super
Duh.
easy, super easy
This
for the.
on this old Mac PowerBook.
Let me just update their
Yeah.
operating
I
system and
found
then.
the USB port. We're fine. Everybody's fine.
Oh man, oh man. So I don't know any other big ones that are right off the top of your head.
Ready Player One. Look, we're
Yeah,
going to use video game weapons.
yeah, a lot, a lot. And then you go into RoboCop. I mean, is that not RoboCop?
The other guy was RoboCop. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
RoboCop, man. It's
And
crazy.
a
He got
little bit
blown up
of,
to shit.
he was also a little bit of Guardians 3 with all the fake parts and stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
He
Yeah.
was there. He was there.
Oh
There's
man.
also the I forget what movie it is, but the way that they left the I'm alive, but you got to come find me. Like there's a lot of movies that do that. Like I'm trapped here.
Hmm.
I'm in the mirror
Yeah.
dimension.
The mirror dimension.
Or they took that you could take it could be Ant-Man where Jane is in the
Jane?
quantum realm.
Who the fuck is Jane?
What's Susan what's uh what's Michelle Pfeiffer's name in that?
Oh, Janet? Janet Van
Janet.
Dyne?
Sorry, Janet.
I
My
was like,
bad.
Jane. Like Thor and Jane? Is that who you're talking about?
I forgot the T on the end of Jane to turn it
Okay,
into.
no problem. No, you are forgiven on that one.
But like the dad's alive, they could hear him now.
Uh
If you could hear me, I'm trapped. Like that's so many movies. But that was in a post-credit scene. Talk about we might do a sequel if this movie's not terrible.
talk about not gonna happen.
Honestly, I'd go see a sequel to this before I'd go see a sequel to like The Flash
Really?
or
Get the
Black
fuck out of
Adam.
here.
I mean,
No
so
way.
wait. I take that back just because I want Clooney as Batman again. But I'd go see a sequel to this before I'd go see a sequel to Black Adam.
I guess maybe.
Because I
I
thought
don't
this
know.
was at least funny.
Black Adam was funny. I enjoyed the humor in Black Adam.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. They
Yeah.
didn't set Black Adam up for anything good except Cavill versus Black Adam. And the last time there was a Cavill versus another major character movie, it was Martha bad.
Well, I don't think we really spoke much about. We talked about the family dynamic. What
Mhm.
about Zolo as Jaime? Did you like him as that character?
I don't think he did anything to get over his skis. I think his character was at least consistent in the movie. So I have no problem with him, especially as an emerging actor. Like, he passes the Luke Skywalker test, right? Hasn't done much, was consistent with his character, could probably come back again and do exactly the same thing and be good. Does that mean he's an actor with great range and we'll see him in a lot of things? I don't know. Did we see Mark Hamill in a lot of things? Not with his face on it, right? He did a great Joker. But I think for the role, he did the part that he needed to do, and I thought he was good.
Do you think, before we go on to the last part, do you think that this would have been better as a TV show?
No, because I'm sick of TV shows pulling the taffy too much. We got to get 6 episodes. We got to pull the taffy. No, I like it as a movie. Um, TV shows lately have not been good. Like I,
DC does very well with their TV shows. Their TV shows are so much better than Marvel's, minus um, like WandaVision and stuff like that. Overall,
but like
historically, DC TV shows have been so much better
if this was a
than
DV,
Marvel.
if this was a DTV, DTV, if this was a DC TV show, I would have watched it just as much as I've watched all the rest of the DC TV shows. Not at all.
Hmm.
Especially it being a character I've never heard of. Like, I've heard of Green Arrow, I've heard of The Flash, I've heard of all that. And guess how many episodes I watched? Nunca. The only DC
Nunca
TV
means
show I've
never, by the
whatever,
way.
same
So
thing, same. I've never watched them. I've watched none of them. Same deal. The only DC TV show that I've watched and own on DVD, can you guess what it is?
Smallville.
Nope. Batman 66, baby.
Oh God,
Yes.
Jesus.
Adam
So
West.
in all fairness, the Flash TV show is good. I still haven't caught up with that, but I just started watching Superman and Lois. Pretty interesting TV show. I dig it. I dig
Is that
it.
the brand
And
new one?
it's the brand new one where he's got two kids in high school. Superman's got two kids in
And
high
he
school.
has
So
stubble.
yeah, yeah. But I'd like, dude, that guy Tyler Hoechlin, really good Clark Kent and Superman. Yes, if you can get past the stubble, I understand why people would be perturbed about that, but dig it. His suit looks awesome. He does a very good job as that character, and
So
a
the
very
only part of
interesting
it,
take.
the only part of it I've seen was a clip on something. I don't know, it was Instagram or Facebook or something owned by Zuckerberg, I'm sure. Where he goes into the diner after the guy steals his
Yeah,
kid's whatever.
or like he
And
beats him or something like that.
well, he doesn't touch him, but he threatens him. And I'm just like, that's a different Clark Kent.
Yeah,
Okay. And I had to see what it was, and I'm like, Superman.
it's
And
worth
then
a.
immediately I said, why the fuck does he have stubble?
It's worth it to check out. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
Hey, maybe the listeners can tell us if we do like an episode on the first season.
Maybe, who
Maybe,
knows? Why don't
maybe
you
if
guys chime
somebody
in?
would comment or send some sort of message or slide into some kind of direct connection portal, I don't know how people could tell us that we should watch this.
Well, funny you should ask, because at the end of this episode you'll see all of our links and everything. But before we get to that, Mark, there's a question I have to ask you. Mark, can you do the Blue Beetle all day?
It's not a hard no. It's a soft no. It's like it's a so it's no because it would take effort to find it and turn it on. But if it was, let's say it was the 90s when things would just run on cable, like if I didn't have all of the streaming services and this was on TNT, I'd watch it. It's a no because of effort and selection, not because of quality. I'm interested to hear how you feel about it. Can you do this movie all day?
This is probably one of my most toughest decisions that I've had in the entirety of this podcast history, because there have been some movies that I have said that I can do this all day that in hindsight, I'm just like, I can't believe I said that. I don't know why I did. I probably just felt pressured to. But this one, I had a good time. And so part of it is number one, supporting comic book movies, right? I want more of them to be made. Number two, I love the fact that we're getting a little bit more of not just diversity, but just cultural appreciation for different dynamics out there. I don't need to have everyone like either gender swaps or racial swaps or anything like that. That's not it at all. I just like those moments of appreciation in a movie that make it better. This family, the way that their family was with each other and how their culture was highlighted, totally dig it, appreciated it. The people in my theater really liked it as well. So that's something that plays pretty high in my favor of that. So I when you get to see something different in a movie and it's highlighting something that's just not normally there in every other movie that you see, cool. But there's the flip side to that coin where remember that thing that I said that there's you hardly ever see it? Well, there's so much of this movie that I saw in other movies. So that's where my decision is really having a hard time. When it comes to rewatchability, I think I could rewatch it. You know, I enjoy Zolo's character and his performance. I also like the whole family, but there's also some things that I probably missed out on just based off of the laughter from the audience that I could probably pick up on and appreciate more. Or if I go back and learn a little bit more about Blue Beetle, I would probably appreciate the movie in a different light too.
You'd know what the hell those other suits were and why they kept
Yeah.
showing them.
Yeah. But I think a lot of that is a big what if. If I do some research on the character. So I will probably say that for rewatchability, I don't know if I'll rewatch it again, honestly,
Yeah.
unless there is something else. And you know, I'm a big sucker for rewatchability. There's a lot of nostalgia there, but that nostalgia is also muted by the pale imitation or just
Yeah.
flat outright, you know, kind of borrowing from other movies. So
I know what you mean.
for
If only there
that,
was some kind of strike or work stoppage or lack of movies being produced that could afford you the time and the inspiration to dig deeper into this character. We'll see.
no, I to answer your question, I cannot do this all day.
Well, sorry, DC. You didn't pass again.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I did. At least, you know, that we might not change our answers, you know. So, but
Oh, well. Guess we'll wait till the next one.
and the next one will be somewhat related to the DC universe, but it's a certain actress that played Wonder Woman. So we'll be doing that on our next episode. But until then, I'm Dan the Part-Time Adventurer. That is Mark the Resident Jedi.
Look at all the links. Like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what we should do next. See you on the next one.